What is going on, everybody? My name is Ciara Lawler. Welcome to another week of Movie Mondays. This is the Here's for Hire podcast. We're back again talking all the week's movie news, entertainment news, and just generally having a bit of a chit-chat about everything to do with film. As always, I am joined by my partner in crime, Mr. Shaun Meehan. Shaun, how is it going?
I'm very excited, Connor. We've been teasing it all last week, but we have a big announcement to make this week.
This is true. And are we starting with it? Or are we going to leave them wanting more at the end? Maybe wait until the last story? Or are we going to go right now?
What if we did it right in the middle, in between discussing a story?
But we'll never tell you when. It's just going to come out of the blue.
No, I think we should do it now.
Okay, go on, please.
Okay, so, as you all know, it's been a weird year for everyone. And so we were thinking, what could we do to make maybe the Christmas season just a little bit more exciting? So the plan at the minute is all of our lovely people who support us over on Patreon, all of our patrons will be getting a Christmas card from us this year. So I'm drawing a Christmas card and we'll post it all out to you guys. Now,
hand-drawn? There's stick men and everything.
Artisan stickmen is what we're working with here.
You painted it upside down. It was on the ceiling for some reason.
I was like Michelangelo or Donatello or Raphael.
Which one's the cool but rude guy?
That's Raphael, and you know it.
Good. He's pretty good.
So, for all of our patrons, send us your address if you want that card. If you don't want it posted, if you don't want to give your address to two random Irish men from the internet, just send us an email address. I'll send you a JPEG of it. It'll all be good. And it'll still contain festive wishes.
And we are hosting a raffle for 2 prizes as well, Shaun. Now, the card is... Everybody's getting a Christmas card. But what's most exciting is that we are giving away... in a competition kind of thing, in a raffle, all of our patrons are in with the chance of winning a mug and a shirt. So our first ever pieces of merch here on the podcast will be given out to our patrons. So
you have been working on the merch store in the background, and you've shown me them, and they look savage. They look really good. So
you sound surprised.
Not surprised, more incredulous. But those will be there'll be one prize of a shirt and one prize of a mug. Is that correct?
That is true. So there are 2 prizes on the go, and all you have to do to enter is become any level of a Patreon. So the tiers start from $1, $2, $5, and so even if you go $1, you'll get your name in the description, but your name will also be thrown into the hat for the raffle. Now, of course, there are other benefits to being $5. You get all the Lazarus Pit shows that we do, and we'll be hoping to do more shows over the Christmas. But if you just want your name in the raffle with a chance to win some of this merch, you can do that as well.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of Lazarus Pit, we also did one of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen this weekend. We hope you all enjoyed it.
Yes, so now we're gonna leave it there. That's our bit of admin. If you have any questions, message us or email us or tweet us or whatever. But Shaun, we have to get into this week's movie news, because this isn't Talk About Yourself Mondays. That's what it's not called.
I never talk about myself ever. I've never overshared on this show, and I never will.
Your name isn't even Shaun.
No, I don't want people to know my name. This isn't my voice.
Oh, Fabio. Tell me, Fabio, what do you think of this first story? Okay, so we are starting this week with, I think, the only place that we could start here on this very Irish podcast, because a lot of people, a trailer came out, is what I'm going to start with here, and a lot of people, this will have passed by. Because what happened was, this trailer came out on YouTube and got absolutely destroyed in the Emerald Isles, shall we say. I don't know if it has had much of an impact in England and America and the rest of the world, but it's important you all watch it.
Yeah, well, if you haven't seen this trailer, first of all, watch it. And second of all, I challenge you to tell me who this film is for.
So... You might be thinking, what are these idiots talking about for multiple minutes of this podcast? Well, this movie, what if I told you this movie starred Jamie Dornan, it starred Emily Blunt, and it starred Jon Hamm? What if I told you there was a movie that starred those 3 superstar actors, and you're thinking, Jesus, it must be a good movie? Well, It is not. Because
No.
the first trailer for the movie Wild Mountain Thyme has come out, and it is a rom-com. Now, we wouldn't normally cover rom-com trailers here on the show. We're normally a superhero-based podcast, comic books and stuff. But this movie is based in Ireland.
Yeah.
And what this means is everybody, other than John Hamm, is doing an Irish accent in this movie.
Sorry, not just doing an Irish accent, doing a bad Irish accent.
Including Christopher Walken, who's in the film.
Christopher Walken is doing an Irish accent. Emily Blunt is trying her best at an Irish accent. And
somehow Jamie Dornan, who is Irish, is doing a shit Irish accent.
See, he's doing a Mullingar accent.
So what we're going to do now, the movie is called Wild Mountain Thyme. You probably haven't seen the trailer. We're going to give you 5 seconds, stop the podcast, go onto YouTube, search it, Wild Mountain Thyme, and thyme is spelled like the herb. So that's all you have to do, and we'll give you a second. Okay, so
Right.
are we all know exactly what we're talking about here? So, Shaun, where do you want to start with this trailer? Because there's a lot of things stood out to me. Mostly, Christopher Walken is doing a really good Danish accent.
Why, like, the casting decisions in this film baffle me, because why not just cast, like, Brendan Gleeson in the Christopher Walken role?
Saoirse Ronan must be looking at her agent.
Oh,
like,
she is
this
fucking
was the
livid.
this was the absolute biggest tap-in goal ever.
Ever. It was the easiest one to do.
Everyone's talking Begorra, be Jesus.
Oh, fiddle TT and all that. But here's the, like, what baffles me is that you have Donald Gleeson. You have Jamie Dornan playing the son of Christopher Walken when you could have Donald Gleeson playing the son of Brendan Gleeson.
Oh, that seems like a much better idea.
And also,
so the plot... Go on.
Sorry, to make Emily Blunt look Irish, they just put dirt on her face.
They did. For some reason, why do we all have dirt on our face? Not many movie podcasts will cover this trailer, but I felt we were the right niche of Irish and movie podcast that we had to discuss this, what I can only describe as a hate crime against us.
Oh, it's a massacre against the Irish accent, certainly. Now,
so the plot is that you have Jamie Dornan and Christopher Walken. They have a farm, of course, to do Begorra, be Jesus, ha fiddle dee fiddle die.
yes.
On the other side, you've Emily Blunt, who has dirt on her face. She should probably go have a shower, but she also has a farm. But she's in love with Jamie Dornan, and he's a bit awkward. And so the plot becomes that Christopher Walken doesn't want to give his farm to his son, and instead gives it to some American who's played by John Hamm.
Yeah. Now, this is a very Irish tale of, like, a son being denied the farm. That's happened. But, like, it's so contrived in this movie that it feels like they're, like, catering to an Irish audience, being like, oh, isn't this a story you all know? But then they just somehow turn it into, aren't the Irish all magical and lovely?
Do you know what Emily Blunt's character's name is?
It's Rosemary, isn't it?
Rosemary Muldoon.
Rosemary Muldoon. Rosemary and Thyme.
The person writing this was just like, fuck, what do I have in my cabinet? Oh, what's that? Oh, a few herbs. Oh, Jesus. and you know Jamie Dornan's name is first name Mick, second name the Herbs.
Very good. Actually, he has a very like friendly Irish lad name of Anthony Riley.
Oh yes, and then they start talking about some man called John Kelly. And so the whole plot of this trailer is that, like, I'm not going to give you me farm. And then Jamie Dornan's like, you will, begorra be Jesus, give me your farm, father. And then Emily Blunt comes in and goes, Ging, fiddle die, I love you, right? And I think this might win an Oscar.
See, I think this will do really well in America, as the thing. Like Boston, I think, like...
You think?
I think so. It's...
I have some of my favourite bits. The bit when he's talking to a cow, that's a good one. Because all Irish people have a farm. But I love that it was he that kissed me, says Emily Blunt, after John Hamm and her share a romantic kiss, and she comes back and Jamie Dornan's like, you kissed him, it was he who kissed me. And
actually, here's a good point, Connor. What year is this movie set?
1937? I don't know.
You would think so, because they're all marvelling at like a 1970s Ford Angela. But I think it's set in 2020, because he says...
Fuck off.
She says something about freezing her eggs.
And he says, why don't you freeze your whole body?
You'll be waiting that long for fucking Anthony to...
The fucking devil who he is. And then it finishes off. I was thinking, so I was watching this with like a look of horror on my face through the whole trailer. But then at the end, when they're like, I don't like fighting, and then someone says, who likes a fight? And Jamie Dornan says, half of Ireland, but not me. Which really just implies that we're all really drunk and love fighting and have dirt on our face and we all own a farm.
Exactly. Like, I have a theory, actually, that's just come to me. In that Saoirse Ronan and Brendan Gleeson, Donald Gleeson, were approached for this script.
And they said no.
They said, this is awful.
Like, Emily Blunt and Christopher Walken, I'm like, okay. I actually give them a pass because it's very hard to do an Irish accent without getting, like, just shit on. It's very easy for English people to do an American accent, but for some reason the Irish accent is always they always go too far.
Yeah,
on the far, they always Tom Cruise it, and But what the problem is, Jamie Dornan is Irish, and so he has to get most of the blame here because Jamie. Surely you could just talk like you normally do. I know you're Northern Irish, but it's fairly close.
That's the thing. But, like, do you think he was told to ham it up a bit? Of, like, be more Irish, Jamie.
There must have been 5% of them thinking, lads, you know they don't talk like this. Although someone's probably listening to this now going, they talk the exact same as that.
It's very possible. Could I do one of my favourite things and read through some of the YouTube comments on this?
Yes, please.
Excellent, perfect. So, one man, Hugo Newman, says, this is equal parts hilarious and horrifying. It's like a gift shop ingested a bunch of 19th century anti-Irish immigrant literature and shat out the results in celluloid form.
True, I'm feeling that vibe.
Sean Mack has said, have we not suffered enough?
We have, Sean.
And one of my favourite is Rosa Louis. He said, my dear Irish friend's response to this trailer was, I wish we had nukes.
I think whoever designed this movie needs to stop. It's meant to come out on streaming in December, but it needs to stop. Just leave it.
Yeah. Just cut your losses on this, because it's only going to be laughed at.
Oh, boys. Sorry, we don't normally start with a movie that is that niche, but just watch the trailer and you'll know exactly what we're talking about. We are going to move on, though, Sean, from that monstrosity, because we have more terrible ideas happening around the world, not just in Ireland. And so,
around the world.
Sean, around the world. So, Sean, Disney are at it again.
Oh,
now,
no.
I know what you were thinking. Sean, Disney, they might run out of live-action remakes. They love live-action remakes. They've had so many of them, and they're all doing so well.
They all do well, which is the worst part.
That's the most annoying bit. But, Sean, they've decided on another remake.
Oh,
and this remake is going to be Lilo and Stitch.
I'm sorry.
A live-action.
No, not allowed.
Surely Stitch will be horrifying.
Look what they did to Sonic.
I think a Lilo and Stitch live-action remake is a truly awful idea.
It is, and we're playing into their hands because this is just free advertising. But
yeah, But we had to report on it because they always do live-action remakes, and they're after approaching the Crazy Rich Asians director John M. Chu. Now, he's a good director, but the fact that they're doing a Lilo and Stitch remake is really the news here.
Yeah, now, what benefit is there? And I feel they should ask themselves this question every fucking time they try it. What benefit is there to have that story in live action?
I think it could be better. I think the first one was a disgrace. It didn't live up to the hype, and it wasn't a very good movie. And so I think you have to do live action to make it better. A lot of people, the main complaint I had with the first one, that it was animated. And I was thinking, this would be better if I seen a little fucking blue monster that was horrifying to look at, trying to be cute.
I think Stitch is cute because he's animated.
Yes.
And a lot of the other things that they go up against in that, like a lot of the other aliens and stuff, would be fucking horrifying in live action.
There's like loads of aliens in that, isn't there?
Yeah, he's an alien.
That is going to be hard to do. We always have this discussion when it comes to live action remakes. They're doing a Pinocchio, they're doing the Lilo and Stitch, they've done the Lion King. The question becomes, is this going to be better than the first one, which is animated, which ultimately means that it's timeless?
It is timeless, and it still holds up. It still looks really good. And Lilo and Stitch is such a it's just a very good movie. There's love in it, and it's very accurate to things like, Hawaiian culture and things like that. I don't know how much of that they're going to let translate.
Yeah, because also they are going to be computer animating Stitch, they say. But, I think that makes it less... I think it's colder. I think it's very hard to do that without it seeming colder in live action. The Lion King seemed a lot colder in live action than it did in animated.
Yes, it loses some of the... And maybe
charm?
It's a charm, I think, and maybe it's a bit of nostalgia that, things were good when I watched that movie. But
back in 2002, none of us had any pandemics.
Oh, the good old days before a pandemic. Now, my question is, do you think that Lilo and Stitch didn't make the money when it came out that they thought they were going to make, and so now they're putting it out again?
Well, if I do remember correctly, it was not a big box office success. I think it came out in 2002, so it wasn't a big box office success, but I think it became a cult classic afterwards. But Disney, they like money, and there must be a bit of them that's yeah, but we didn't get enough money with that one. I know it's a success, but what if we had more dollars? And they're like, God damn, you've done it again. Let's do it, rerun it.
Yeah, rerun it. Why not? Just keep remaking the same movies. I'm the least interested in this out of all the remakes.
You always say that every time I tell you a remake, though.
Because they keep getting worse. They keep picking...
I think Pinocchio. No, Pinocchio has my least interest.
Pinocchio is the one I'll allow for some reason unknown to me. I just
Tom
think that,
Hanks is in it.
That as Pinocchio.
No, not as Pinocchio. Who do you think Tom Hanks is playing in Pinocchio?
The Blue Fairy.
No. Old man, white-haired Tom Hanks, who can grow a lovely moustache. He's playing Pinocchio.
He's playing Geppetto, a man who commits an affront to God and gives life to a bit of wood.
Yeah. That's absolutely. So I think this is the latest in a long line of live action remakes we have to look forward to when the whole world opens back up. In my head, they're just having all of these in a vault, and the minute they're okay, it's safe to go out. There's 1 million vaccines, you're all okay, everything's back open. They're just going to throw 4 of them out into the cinema at the same time.
I think so. And we'll look at them and be like, oh, just to see some moving pictures is great.
So So, we're going to move on to our next piece of news. And this is more news that is not very good, Shaun.
Oh, what a week it's been. Right at the start.
No, this one I think will annoy me more than you.
Oh, good.
And so, this news is... Now, Zack Snyder was very much doing a lot of interviews this week, Shaun. He came out and he was talking a lot. So we've lots of Zack Snyder news. But the first one we are going to be tackling this week is that Zack Snyder still dreams of turning The Dark Knight Returns into a live-action movie.
Did we not do that?
No. So The Dark Knight Returns is have you ever seen...
The animated
There's
one?
a great... Yeah, the animated movie, but they haven't done that in live action.
Did he not steal like half of it for Batman vs Superman?
He did, yeah, but now he wants to do it again.
Wants to do the full thing again where Batman fights Superman again. Metal suit. He puts a big metal suit on.
Yeah, that does... They do seem very similar now that you think about it. Almost a lot of plagiarism kind of going on there now.
He rips dialogue from the comic. Straight
up ripped the dialogue, but he still dreams of turning it in. What is he going to do? Just copy and paste?
Sure, like just remake it shot for shot, like for the comic. But this is another thing where the animated one is a very good version of it. It's fine. Don't do it live action. How would you do it? Who would you do it with? The current lineup of Batman and Superman?
No, you'd have to wait until Batman was old and almost Ben Affleck like big. You know, like a big guy, and he's kind of like sad, and he's broad, like, and he has to fight Superman, and Superman's kind of like, you're off the deep end here, like the government doesn't like you, and Batman's like, oh, I hate you, Superman, like something like along that plot line, and then eventually they end up fighting in a big metal suit.
I was wondering when the big metal suit would come into things, because that seems to be key to the whole operation. Now, what I don't get is like, look, the only way I'll accept this is if we wait until Robert Pattinson is 60 and Zack Snyder does it then.
But Zack Snyder will be like 90 at that stage.
Yeah, he will.
Bring him back. Bring him back.
Like, having another version of that comic be adapted, it's not going to be as... No, I don't think anyone has any fondness for the Batman vs Superman adaptation of The Dark Knight Returns.
Would you like to hear Zack Snyder's exact quote? Because Zack Snyder, he's some man for the quotes.
He is. So, he once told a whole bunch of people they were wrong.
He did. Zack Snyder has said, I saw a tweet recently, like, Snyder needs to stop reading The Dark Knight Returns. He needs to read another Batman comic. I almost tweeted back, I'm sure Jay replied like, there aren't any others, haha. I'm so obsessed with that comic. I've always thought that maybe one day down the road, as a one-off, just as a crusty old Batman, we'd just do it. It's a dream that I still have.
Okay. This is absolutely... And look, we're not very gatekeepy on this show. We're very much look, just, you can have a passive interest in anything you want, or you can be really into it. It's fine.
True.
But I genuinely think Zack Snyder has only read The Dark Knight Returns and The Killing Joke, and he has all of his Batman information from that.
And that's fine.
That's fine.
That is fine. And he can do a movie on both of them if he's read both of them. But don't keep doing the same movie.
Read a Batman story where Batman's happy.
Very few of them, to be fair.
There used to be heaps, and then Zack Snyder started making movies about them.
And then he got sad, But I think that you're allowed to do Batman vs Superman as a movie and take a lot of inspiration from The Dark Knight Returns. But then to come out and be like, it's a dream that I have to do The Dark Knight Returns properly. Well, what were you doing before?
Yeah, that was your chance. That was the one that had very little studio interference.
Like, Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns is one of the best Batman comic books ever. Like, everyone kind of agrees with that. But the idea that you would do it and then be like, no, we'll do it again. Like, I didn't properly do it the last time because I had to include Martha. But this time, we're doing it properly.
Yeah, they had to kill They had to, flat out kill Superman at the end so he could be brought back the next movie. Someone, I think, wrote... It was either a very long tweet or a video. which explains how content has gone these days. But it was why, like, The Dark Knight Returns is a great Batman story, but it should not be the only one you read, because that is Batman at his worst. Like,
no, that's Batman. That story makes that story is so much better and enhanced by reading everything else.
Yes, exactly. That you know where he's come from, you know what he's gone through, and this is where he ends up.
And especially, say, at the end when, like, with the Joker, and he kills the Joker or whatever, or him and the Joker have that one final battle, and the Joker breaks his own neck. Now, this is a spoiler for a comic book from the 80s, so
yeah, what
can you do? But, like that is a really incredible scene. But you can't go straight to that scene, because then this is actually quite encapsulating of what DC tried to do originally anyway, as the movies. Like, they tried... Like, that scene in that comic book works so much better when you realise, oh, they've had 30 years of fighting non-stop, and now he's just sick of it.
Yeah, and a similar thing goes for The Killing Joke, where that is a fine story to read on its own. But if you've read, a lot of... If you've been through a lot of Batman stories, and the Joker has always been this just mystery psychopath... And then you read The Killing Joke and you realise, this might be an origin for him. And then, like, not just you read that first and then you're like, the Joker's the comedian who fell into acid. That's fine.
No, that's easy. That's really good. I'm glad I started here. It's the origin.
Like there's an element to, like, the wait of before you find out.
Yeah, I had to include this because Zack Snyder, he's got more ideas later on, but this is just a little taster from what he's planning.
A little tidbit.
So, we're moving on to our next piece of news, and that is the Scorpion King reboot is happening, Shaun, with The Rock returning to produce.
Has there ever been a comeback story like this?
I mean, this is mental. So if anyone doesn't remember, The Scorpion King was a movie from 2002, and it was everyone's favourite animated piece that The Rock did. I think it was his first big major role.
Certainly, yeah, early days.
Yeah, I think this was his first movie, or maybe his second movie, or first movie as a leading man, basically. And it was received okay, but it wasn't ever received, like, great. And so what's happened is The Rock has since gone on to become The Rock, biggest movie star in the world. And so now the idea is they're going to come back with him producing. He has enough money that he has his own production company now and he can produce it himself. And he's like, I'll do it better.
Yeah, and the Scorpion King was famed for having really, really not bad, like, it was just early days CGI. And it was, a photo of The Rock's face stretched over a texture of a head. And just
it was PS2 graphics.
It was PS2 graphics, but in a multi-million-dollar movie. And so, like, it just, especially in, like, the last 5 or 10 years, it's just become a meme of terrible CGI.
Yeah.
So the fact that, like, The Rock just has enough star power now that he can be like, let's do it again.
Also, this is interesting because, I mean, this would have fit in perfectly with the Dark Universe when they tried to relaunch it, because they'd launched The Mummy, and unfortunately they're never going to do another one because it was received so badly, but this would have fit in with that world.
Yeah, it would be a good addition, I think, to the Dark Universe, and probably one of their most successful.
Do you want to know what The Rock actually said, which I think is really cool, in a statement?
Yeah, please.
So he said, "The Scorpion King was my first ever role on the silver screen, and I'm honoured and excited to reimagine and deliver this cool mythology to a whole new generation. I wouldn't have had the career I'm lucky to have had it not been for the Scorpion King. And I'm thrilled that we at 7 Books Productions," that's his production company, "can help create those same opportunities for other hard-working actors today."
Okay.
The Rock is such a nice man.
He's so nice. He was in this dog shit movie and he's used it to better himself and everyone around him.
And so now he's going to redo it and maybe hire somebody else in to try and get them into... Although, his cousin, Roman Reigns, is in wrestling now. And I'm pretty sure he's the champion. And Roman Reigns, he looks a bit like Jason Momoa kind of style. Like, he's a bit of a movie star looking dude. Yeah. I'm just saying... Has The Rock gone through this whole rigmarole just to get his cousin into the leading role and start the whole process all over again?
It's very possible. Also, speaking of Roman Reigns, he only just became a bad guy, didn't he, in wrestling?
This is random, yes.
Okay, because this is completely off topic, but he was pushed by WWE for ages, being like, he's the good guy, but everyone fucking hated him for no good reason. And now he's finally the bad guy, and he's actually doing pretty successfully out of it. So,
and I would say he's as cool as The Rock.
That's it.
I would say just as a dude.
Yeah, and he has that movie star like swagger about him, and I think he'd look really good with a big scorpion body.
Do you think when they're casting it, everyone who comes in, they just like hold up a big piece of paper that has a scorpion body on it, and they're just like, true perspective, they only hold it up to their head? No, you're not. No, leave.
No, my camera was off. I'm sorry.
Just hold it up again. He's the one, boss. He's perfect.
They're just watching wrestling and holding it up like as the camera's moving around.
Stop trying to hold it up, Roman. So they are doing a Scorpion King reboot, which I think would have had more of an impact if it was involved in like the whole universe of the Dark World, or the Dark Universe, I should say. But it is interesting that they're going about this. I wonder if it'll be good or if it'll just be forgotten, like the other one was.
It's tough to call with a lot of The Rock's films, because some of them do really well and some of them just kind of disappear. Like Rampage.
I hope it's like Hercules, and that's kind of one that disappeared. But Hercules is a better movie than it has any right to be.
Like there's actual effort put into it in places.
I remember going to see it and thinking, this is better than I thought it would be. And because I think he's not Hercules at all. He's like a dude that has just like built up this weird persona that he's amazing. But like they're like, oh, you defeated like 10 tigers at once, and then later on you find out that he just made it all up. That like, not that he made it all up, but he killed one tiger, and then he just like let the rumor spread that he killed 10 just to make it seem how cool he was.
Yeah, and like, is he magic? Is he just a liar? Because sometimes there's magic in that movie.
Yes, it doesn't make much sense.
What if he was his character from The Other Guys, who shows up in the first 5 minutes?
We can be heroes.
Aim for the bushes.
Aim for the bushes. If anyone doesn't know, The Other Guys has one of my favourite comedic movies, and Shaun's as well. I would love to actually do a Patreon, but only for that one scene. I actually wouldn't care about the rest of the movie. But it's Samuel L. Jackson and The Rock chasing the bad guys. They're like the coolest policemen ever. And they like run up the stairs, and the bad guys zip line off the skyscraper down into the street, and they get away. And The Rock and Samuel L. Jackson just look down, and they've like no way down because the guys cut the zip line wire, and then they're just like aim for the bushes, and they're in the middle of a fucking city. I think they're in New York.
They jump off the building,
and David Bowie's Hero starts playing as they fall, and then the next scene is their funeral.
It's just hard cuts to 2 coffins. It's amazing.
Okay, we're going to move on. But the Scorpion King is happening. They are doing a reboot. I'm interested to see who they cast. Are they going to cast someone unknown, or are they going to cast like a big star? Which I think it'll be more fun if they cast someone unknown.
I think that'll be really interesting to see. I think they're going to really like go all out on this.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to move on to our next piece of news, and this is A Quiet Place. Now, A Quiet Place is one of probably the best horror movies or thrillers over the last few years, and definitely one that stands out to me. But it is getting a sequel. But now we have news that not only is it getting a sequel, it is getting a number 3 already before the sequel comes out.
Wow!
And the number 3 will be a spin-off to set to establish the franchise as a full-fledged universe.
Oh, I'm not sure how I feel about this.
Because you're in a dangerous situation here, Shaun, because you love John Krasinski, and he's
I
a
do.
lovely man.
And Emily Blunt has a perfect Irish accent.
And look, she doesn't do the accent in this movie, which I think stands in a good state. But I think the first one is amazing. The second one has not come out. It was originally meant to come out, I think, in May, maybe of this year. But of course, with everything going on, it's been pushed back for a year.
Yeah.
But it has not come out yet, technically. So they've already got the third one lined up, and they're building a universe. Shaun, what are your thoughts?
Okay. It depends on, like, okay. The first...
he's in a tricky position here.
I really am. So the first one did a really good job of establishing a universe and just putting us in the middle of it. This second one, from the trailer, looks to explore, like, how it started and what happens after the second film then. I don't know what the percentages are there of, like, how much of the movie is set in the past.
Yeah.
Like, the third one, it would be interesting to see a different viewpoint on the same scenario.
But will that take away some of the magic?
It will. And some of the magic is already gone because it's gotten a second one.
Now, the second one is meant to pick up immediately after the first one. So it's kind of a carry-on rather than, like, it's not a prequel, if you see what I mean.
Yeah. Now, I think it's... If it's a spin-off, as they say...
The third one, yeah.
The third one, yeah. I think it'll be... I think that's better, because it means that the journey that the family is going on in the second one, that can just have its end point if there is one there. They're not trying to draw it out. Or in the third one, they're not trying to write a reason for things to go wrong again.
But I really don't want to know why the monsters are there. In, like, a weird way. Like, I really don't want to know anything more about them that we already learned.
No, I think... Well, actually, Connor, what if we took one of those sound-based monsters and gave it the old Todd Phillips Joker treatment?
Why don't we Prometheus it? Why don't we find out how they were born?
Give us the not interesting parts of the aliens.
I think the Alien franchise was made much better by finding out how the aliens were made, not by just finding this fucking creepy shit on a planet and all of you dying.
Now, with A Quiet Place, as you said, a lot of the, I suppose, allure of it was... It's out of the blue. It's a great thriller. It's a great horror movie, and it's just one and done. It's great. I think 2 is maybe stretching that original format. I do think spinning off into different looks at that universe is the best way to go if they are intending to keep making these movies, because you can't just follow Emily Blunt and the kids forever.
And actually, if you are going to do a spin-off, you can set it at the same time as the family and just have everybody in that film die. Like, nobody survives. So, like, you think, oh, they're the heroes, they'll also figure out a way to beat them, but they all just die.
Wouldn't it be cool if... that would be great, actually. Wouldn't it be cool if there was, like, The Animatrix, where it's a bunch of short stories? Like, I want to see what happens to the blind person in that universe.
Yeah, like, just lots of random people going about, like, trying to live in that world.
Yeah, I think that would be super interesting.
Oh, shit. Oh, man, yeah, no. See, I think it depends how they go about it. If they go prequel and they try and show us how the aliens got there, I think it's going to lose some of its creepiness. The more you reveal, the less scary it becomes.
Yeah, and now they have a weapon against the aliens as well after the first one.
Which is already, like, lowered the tension.
Yeah, and the stakes aren't as high, you know?
No. Yeah, and I think if you're going to do a horror movie, what you want to just be on edge, like, how the fuck are they going to win? And I don't know even if win is the right word, but, like, Emily Blunt in that bathtub in the first one.
Oh my god.
Like, that's one of the best scenes did like in the last 10 years in cinema. Just the idea that she has to give birth in this fucking place where this monster will just destroy everything if he hears a sound.
And then she's coming downstairs and she steps on the nail.
Oh. Have we just spoiled that movie? Although it did come out in like 2018.
Yeah, look, it's fine. We were always going to spoil something.
And it was, to be fair, it's always going to get a sequel because it had a budget of $17 million and it earned nearly $350 million.
That's pretty good. That's
more. That's more money.
That is, Connor, your maths skills, they're
I
really coming along.
But that is... I had to count on my fingers. Eventually I got there.
You've been counting since last week.
I have been counting for a while. I was like, Jesus, there's so many zeros.
Now look, I'll give it a go. I really hope it's good.
Do you want me to leave you on some bad news about this movie?
Yeah, please.
Michael Bay is producing it. Okay, bye.
Oh dear. So Michael Bay did make The Island, and I really like The Island.
That's going to work against him. That is going to work against him for myself, to be honest.
Okay, well look, we'll just have to agree to disagree.
Yeah, everyone's favourite movie, The Island.
The Island.
Yeah, Hugh McGregor's finest work.
And Jessica Alba's.
Yeah. Hugh McGregor, I always say Obi-Wan who? I'm more thinking of his character from The Island.
Oh, you mean Thomas Lincoln?
How do you know that? Okay,
sorry, Lincoln 6 Echo is the clone's name. Jessica Alba's clone's name is Jordan 2 Delta.
Fuck's sake. When did you last watch that movie?
Probably like 8 years ago.
Oh, that's actually worrying that you know that. Okay, we're going to move on to just a small piece of news. And this is good news, Sean. I decided to fit in a bit of good news here this week because one of our favourite characters is coming back for Thor Love and Thunder. Not just Thor, not just Lady Thor. We've got Chris Pratt, Mr. Star-Lord, he has joined the cast of Thor Love and Thunder.
Good God, these Marvel movies are getting more interconnected by the day.
We've had a lot of news regarding WandaVision over the last few weeks, and this is kind of a carry-on of that, yeah.
Okay, so last we saw those characters, Thor was heading off with the Guardians of the Galaxy and having a weird power struggle with Star-Lord. Yeah,
and he keeps talking in a weird voice. That's actually a really great scene.
It's class. Now, it doesn't go into any detail, it's just that he's joined the cast, is that right?
It has said he's just joined the cast. I mean, I'm sure he's playing Star-Lord. I'm not assuming he's playing anybody else, but he is part of the cast. But also, I think it is said that Chris Hemsworth will be in the Guardians movie as well, number 3.
Okay, see, any time someone is cast in a Thor movie, it might just be Loki pretending to be them.
It could be, but Thor is in the Guardians movie as well. And when we last seen them, they were together.
That's true, but don't the two... like they're releasing in different orders or something like that. Like Guardians 3 takes place before Love and Thunder, chronologically, or something like that.
Oh, maybe, yeah. No, I think I remember seeing something like that. But then James Gunn left to go do Suicide Squad, and now he has to come back and film that.
Yeah, so I would love if the first scene of Love and Thunder was just Star-Lord kicking like Thor out of the Benatar and just leaving him
because he's the leader.
Because he's the leader and he's just sick of his shit.
This is my normal voice. This is how I talk.
That's pretty good Star-Lord impersonating Thor. You just did
it's
there.
Tough. I will say it's tough. Try it yourself. Go on. Give me your best one.
No, my throat is still sore, Connor. I don't want to break it.
Oh, for God's sake. Oh, no fun mean. That's what they call you.
That is what they call me in school.
I used to whisper that behind your back.
We went to separate schools, man.
We did, yeah, we did. But do you think does this news kind of reflect on the fact that maybe Marvel is going more so, like, a lot of these movies are going to amalgamate multiple characters in at once? I
think so, and I think it's something that's been not missing, but it's not been explored to the fullest extent in the movies so far, because there was always this feeling of like, oh yeah, like they're around, people will reference the Avengers, but they'll never just like rock up to Wakanda to say hello or like I think Ant-Man deals with it the best. In the first Ant-Man, Scott is like, okay, I think our first move should be to call the Avengers, and Hank Pym is just like, no, I don't trust them, I don't like them, and that's the reason they don't show up.
And I think it's much more comic book if everybody just knows each other. And it makes so much more sense that out of everybody, the Guardians and Thor know each other.
Yeah, and especially, like, after Endgame, like, they've all been through the same thing together. Surely new friendships would come out of that.
You could do, like, the characters that are very heavily in space are the Guardians, you've Thor, and you've Captain Marvel. And so the three of them, it would make sense that they would pass by each other. Especially if Chris Pratt. Especially if the Guardians and Thor, like, the last time we see them, they were together. And it would make I think Thor will be a bigger part in Guardians than the Guardians are in Thor. Because I think Thor is trying to do a lot more plot points in other ways. That probably, they don't really want the Guardians there for the jokey stuff. Maybe for the first 10 to 15 minutes, and then they'll move them on.
That's very true. That is very true. Now, this is a little bit off topic, but you mentioned something similar to it, that the actual, in Marvel Comics at the minute, they're like three cornerstone characters are Ms. Marvel, Miles Morales, and Nova.
Right.
So, of those, Nova is probably the most like space dwelling.
Oh yeah, Nova would be... And Nova, they've been heavily rumouring for years that they wanted to do something with him.
That's it, and like all of Xandar was destroyed by Thanos.
And Nova is from Xandar, just to be clear.
Yes, but the Nova Corps...
He's the Guardian of Xandar.
Guardian of Xandar, and he has the Xandarian hive mind in his head. It's ridiculous. But we did a Hero Zero on him not too long ago.
If anyone wants to go back and listen to that. But he's also in the Spider-Man... It might be the Ultimate Spider-Man animated series. Or just one of the recent ones. He's kind of a part of a team in that.
Yeah, he's very much Spider-Man in space as well. Like, he's a kid and he's
a mouthy little fucker.
He's a mouthy little prick and I love him. But I think like that could be... Like, Thor, I think, is the easiest way to introduce that character, probably. Like, and
especially because Thor is now kind of the leader... In a weird way, because like you have Iron Man, he's not around. Cap is not around. Like you could, of the original big three that they kind of went with, Thor is kind of the last one left. If you don't count Edward Norton in his Hulk role, so you have.
I do.
You do. He's no longer around, but we still salute him. But Thor is kind of the last of the remaining like triangle that they had, and so. I think they will heavily go with him because Chris Hemsworth wants to stick around, especially because he's had, with Ragnarok, he's kind of been resuscitated on the character.
Yeah, he got a new lease on Thor, I think, after Ragnarok.
Yeah, and I think the cast of Thor now, by the way, is not only do you have Peter Quill, Star-Lord, and you have Chris Hemsworth, you've got Tessa Thompson... I mean, you also have Christian Bale is set to play the bad guy.
Yeah, Natalie Portman.
And Natalie Portman as well. Like, that's a very strong cast they have lined up for this. Especially because when you think of Thor the Dark World, like how far we've come from there.
Oh yeah, like just in everything. Like the universe is so much bigger now. And so to have these characters bumping into each other really fills it out.
And it'll really help later on when you do another team-up movie.
Yeah, the next team-up movie's going to be unreal whenever that happens.
Yeah. Okay, Shaun, we are finishing off this week with big Zack Snyder news. I've got 3 pieces of news about Zack Snyder.
Oh, gosh.
Because he did a lot of talking in a new interview this week. And Zack Snyder, he had some thoughts, some ideas. You know how he is. He's one of our faves here on this pod. But we're starting off with Zack Snyder's Justice League reshoots. Do you remember the reshoots they're doing for the Justice League?
I can't forget them, Connor.
Yeah. Well, how many minutes do you think they're going to add of new footage to his HBO Max series?
God, and he said he was happy with all the footage he had, so maybe 10 minutes?
4 or 5 minutes will be added to the new footage after Zack Snyder's Justice League reshoots. Remember,
Really?
These reshoots cost them $75 million.
Forgot about the cost. What's that per minute?
Per minute. 75 million for 5 minutes.
5. That is
12 million?
1,500,000. No, oh no. Oh. That is 15 million per minute?
12, yeah. 15 million per minute, yeah.
That is too much.
I would say that's almost obscene.
And I'm going in on this. Divided by 60. So per hour, it's $250,000.
Nobody's taking lunch. We're working straight through.
Say, on a film set, a 12-hour working day, perhaps. That is $20,833 a day.
That's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. As a rating system, I think that is not throwing money away.
Not at all. That better be great fucking footage.
Yeah, so he's clarifying some misunderstanding about the Justice League Snyder Cut reshoot, because we had a lot of rumours going around. So he's kind of come out and said, in the end, it's going to probably be about 4 minutes or 5 minutes of additional photography, he said. In the 4 hours that is Justice League, it's only 4 minutes extra that they're reshooting for $75 million.
I would do it for half that myself.
What are you shooting for 4 minutes?
Are they, it's got to be some practical stunt that's really expensive, right? They're blowing up a space station.
$74 million and another 3 minutes of footage.
It's a very long take of that.
I mean, how important are those 5 minutes to his vision of Justice League?
See, this is the question, because this is always the thing with editing, is when does it stop being believable? Is that 4 or 5 minutes make or break for the movie? Or is it just a nice thing to have?
It would have to be vital. You have to see Batman's parents die again, just to really set it in.
I think we've gotten to the point we can CGI some pearls. That's fine.
Just $70 million of pearls, though. Imagine how clean that HD would be.
That is, oh man.
Yeah.
Some HD pearls. Now,
do you think HBO Max is spending too much money for what they're getting?
I'm curious where the money is coming from, certainly. I don't know, they have HBO money is a thing, it's just endless. But I hope they've seen a rough draft so far. I hope Snyder's not just let loose with this.
And is it just they're using lots of footage to make up the 4 hours? So it must be 3 hours and 56 minutes of stuff they've already shot.
Yeah. I do not know. The more I hear about this production, the more I am baffled by how it's still going ahead.
Yeah, the more I'm how did this get a green light?
Do they need to spend a load of money, or they get taxed more heavily or something? Is that what's happening here?
So you have to spend $70 million to start shooting in the first place?
Yeah. Is that just the price of a camera these days?
It's a $70 million minimum, yeah.
Oh wow! Well, look, this is why we're audio boys.
Yeah. Also, Zack Snyder has come out and he has said, you remember a few weeks ago we found out news about the Joker in the Justice League.
Yeah. I do remember this. I blocked it from my memory for a bit.
This is Jared Leto mini news report. Mini news. So Jared, we found out, was going to be back. He's back in the Justice League because Zack Snyder thought, I need 4 more minutes of him. But now he gave an in-depth interview with the Film Junkie. Snyder discussed several topics, and he said that the Joker was never part of the original Justice League story.
Oh, he just thought it needed a peppering of Joker.
he revealed he wasn't, and that he just came up with it on the fly and has thrown him in. I
don't think this. See, now Okay, look, if I was a big fan of Zack Snyder, I think I would be annoyed at this because the Snyder Cut was supposed to be his original vision for Justice League. But now it's just whatever he feels like putting in Justice League. And they keep paying him. So, what's to stop him from just adding stuff in indefinitely?
It's very similar. It reminds me of like when I was younger and I would write an essay or something for school. And they would then my teacher would look at it and go, well, what's happening there? And after I gave it to her, I'm still like, oh, well, his parents, they mysteriously disappeared. And she's like, well, you never said that here. Yeah, well, I just came up with it, and it's kind of a cooler idea. Yeah. So his parents disappeared. What can you do?
Like, it's not on the paper, so you can't mark it.
Yeah, you can't mark it, but I know and you know that's there subtly. Not so subtly that I don't have to say it, but still pretty subtly.
Pretty subtle. That's I don't think that lives up to the spirit of what the Snyder Cut promised.
He said no, he wasn't in the production. There were a few things that I had thought about doing that I had thought about grabbing in post. There were a number of things, but I'm completely satisfied. But that was one of the things that in the years since I've kind of boiled on and kind of said, like, this would be a cool thing to do, to be honest.
That is I think that entire production is going to be, that would be a cool thing to do. And
also he said that he's teased Jared Leto's Joker will have a different look and that he's a road-weary Joker.
So he's tired and tattooed?
He's going to be tired and damaged.
Well, we're keeping damaged, correct?
He's going to have tired down on his cheek. So we know exactly how he feels.
I don't know what you can do to that character, but he can't make it worse, is what I would say.
And we finish on Zack Snyder news. This is not a trifecta. What's the one after trifecta?
Quadfecta.
Quadfecta. The quadfecta of Zack Snyder news finishes with the fact that Justice League plans that he has in the future. He has Justice League 2 plans already in his head.
They're not going to... I'm so tired. Yeah. I'm so tired of this kind of news. This is just awful. Because here's the thing. Which one do you count as real now? Because Connor, soon we will have 4 versions of Justice League.
This is true.
That is too many versions of a movie that does not deserve one version.
I mean, he wants to explore the world more.
But it's just going to be fights. It's not like he's saying I want to do a universe. He just wants to do another Justice League movie.
Yeah, and he's already saying maybe just a little tease. Maybe there's going to be a Justice League 2 just when you really want it.
I think he's banking on fans really calling for it after.
Well, there was a massive hashtag push for the first one.
That's true. I think he's counting on that again. But if this one that comes out is dog shit, he can say goodbye to that.
He's also trying. The reason why he wants to do a sequel is he wants to continue Darkseid's story beyond the upcoming Justice League.
Oh, so Darkseid comes back then? Yeah,
Darkseid comes back, and he's still alive. And he's going to come back, and he's going to fuck shit up.
What if this new Justice League ends exactly like Infinity War? Just all the heroes on the ground being sad,
and Tony Stark is dead somehow.
Somehow he just put that in there.
I can sense how sad you are.
I am so tired of talking about this fucking passion.
Okay, I will make you a promise. Okay. We are not going to talk about Zack Snyder again on this show.
Oh, well, look, we probably will.
Until Justice League comes out.
Connor, you can't keep that promise, you know it.
I would. I truly would, but at the same time, Zack, just put out something and just stop chatting.
Yeah, like the trailer was grand.
There's meant to be another trailer next week, by the way.
So we're talking... Oh, you're a liar. Oh, Connor.
No, that's not talking about Zack Snyder. That's talking about the production of Justice League.
Connor, I'm going to give the farm to your American cousin.
Oh, come on, Abby Garaby, Jesus! Come on now, everyone. I've got loads of dirt on my face.
That's how you know he's Irish.
Shaun, do you want to take us out?
Yes, thank you everyone for listening to this week's episode of Movie Mondays. We will be back on Wednesday with Weird News Wednesday, Friday with Hero or Zero, and next Monday with another episode of Movie Mondays. Big thank you, as we said at the start, big thank you to all of our patrons over on Patreon. Big thanks goes out to Waffles Williams, Ciara Lawler, David Clarke, Ed Ball, Joe Burney, Ray Ging, Roisin Hally, Ryan Evanson, Shaun Jamieson, Dominic, Jessiah Green and Anna Helmroos. Thank you all so much for your continued support. We hope you enjoyed the show. We hope you enjoyed leaving.
And once again, if you want to join up for the raffle and the competition that we're going to be holding in a few weeks, just head on over to the Patreon and support us in any way you can, and your name will automatically be entered into the hat.
Yes, and I stress again, the merch looks class. It looks really good.
Average. Some have said average.
Average. Also on the Patreon is League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, kind of, not really a review, more of a talk through that we did. So we hope you enjoyed that if you do head over there. We're on all the social medias. They're all linked below. You can email any questions or queries to heroesforhire_@outlook.com. But I think that's about it, Connor.
I think so. So I've been Ciara Lawler.
I've been Sean Mean.
I'll see you next week, guys.
Bye.
Bye.